have a couple announcements, I guess. Our Family of Faith is on Tuesday, and we are having casseroles. There's a list down there. We have a can drive going, as y'all can see. We got some big cans here. As for Meals on Wheels, we're going to try to have them collected up by the first week of March. Youth Night is February the 17th at 5 p.m. That is a Friday, so it's 2 Fridays away. So then y'all become mine and John's. Anything else? Moving quick.
Page 499. Where's that?
Thank you, Cody. Y'all have to bear with me. I tried this suit on when I got it, but it's going to get reordered. And I'm going to try to keep it on today. But we're going to be in John chapter 15 this morning. You like John 15? Do you? All right. All right. Yeah, we're going to be in John chapter 15 this morning. We're going to highlight some truths through the first 11 verses of John chapter 15. I will start in verse 1, and you'll find that Jesus is exhorting, encouraging, giving instructions to his disciples. He starts in chapter 13 and goes through chapter 17. So we're kind of right in the middle of it. He's in the upper room, which is commonly called the Last Supper. This is where this is going on at. And he's talking to 11 men. By this time, Judas is already gone. And he's not talking to Judas, but he's talking to the other 11 disciples. And it's right before he goes to the Garden of Gethsemane, where he prays all night. Then he's betrayed. And by Judas Iscariot. And then he goes to be crucified. Y'all know the story. But like I said, he's giving some help and some encouragement. And I think that help and encouragement can help us today just as much as it helped the disciples then. Okay? So I'm going to start reading in John chapter 15 and verse 1. John chapter 15 and verse 1. There ain't no snake here, believe me. That's what he said this morning. If it was, I wouldn't be grabbing like that. John chapter 15, verse 1. He says, I am. I stop right there. That's worth saying amen over everything else is. I say all day. I am. I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away. And every branch that beareth fruit, he purges it, that it may bring forth more fruit. Now ye are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except to abide in the vine, no more can ye, except ye abide in me. I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. This is going to be, these last several words here are amazing to me. For without me, ye can do nothing.
That's right.
Without me, ye can do nothing. Let me stop there for a minute. Without me. Without me. Those two words jumped out at me when I read this. Without me. Without me. So, what I'm preaching on this morning is without him. Without him. Without him. You have to agree with me, those 7 words are pretty amazing words. The way he laid them out there. It's an amazing statement. To look at 11 grown men and say, without me, you can do nothing. That's what Jesus said. You know, without me. We find that we're going into a few things that I'm gonna touch on a few things before I get into my message. It's a proving statement. And you say a proving statement? Yes, it's a proving statement. You say, what does it prove? It proves that he's God. Okay? Let me tell you this. If Jesus, that thought of Jesus being just a good man is the biggest lie ever hatched out of hell. Okay? Jesus was more than just a good man. Jesus is God's only son. Okay? He was born of a virgin. He lived a sinless life. He died on the cross, rose again, then ascended back to heaven. He's God in the flesh. Is who he is. Okay? He's not a good man. He wouldn't be a good man or a good teacher even if he lied about those things. How you stand in front of 11 grown men and say, without me, you do nothing. Without me. That's a psychotic statement to make for a regular person. That'd be like me standing up here and say, without me, y'all can't do nothing. If I said that, y'all leave up out here and say, that man's a fool. Who do you think he is going to stand up here and say, without me, without him, we can't do nothing? But Jesus wasn't no normal man standing up there telling them that. That's who Jesus wasn't normal. He was God. You know? And you say, well, how did, he said, well, I am. Where did that come from? It comes on back in Exodus chapter 3, where Moses was looking at the burning bush. And the burning bush started talking. And Jehovah said, go get my people. And he said, well, who shall I say sent me? Jehovah said, tell him, I am. He said, tell him I am, is what he said. So that got him. He got me figuring that, when he said it back then, he's saying it now. He's saying, I am. I am. I am God. I am. I am the great I am, is what he's saying. If I want to know, Jesus started talking to his disciples. And when he talked to his disciples, through the book of John, he says, I am the Master. I am the Lord. I am He. I am the way. I am the truth. I am the life. I am the true vine. If that wasn't enough, earlier in the book, he says, I am the bread of life. I am the door. I am the good shepherd. I am the shepherd of the sheep. I am the Alpha and Omega. I am the beginning and the end. I am the first and I am the last. I am which was dead, and now I'm alive. I'm resurrected forever. He goes on and says all that. He is the great I am. He is the great I am. That proves that he's God. And he said, I am. I am. It's a proving statement. It's a painful statement. It hurt my heart when I read that and thought about it and said, without me, I'll live long enough now with him that I can't imagine living without him. It hurts my heart to think about living without him. Live without Jesus. Live without thinking about worshiping him, reading, praying, fellowshipping with him. It hurts my heart to think about that, not being with him, to be separated from him, not being wanting to witness about him. I can't imagine life without Jesus. I can't imagine it. I can't. Lee Strobel wrote a book called The Case for the Fallen. He did interviews with people. He interviewed this man, and this man got way away from God. He used to walk with God. I don't know if the man was saved or not. I don't know, but I know he used to live for God. And he got so far away from God that he started talking about atheism and trying to get people not to serve God. Yeah, he goes from one extreme to the complete opposite. And it's called The Case for the Faith. what it's called. Levi Strauss. He wrote several books. But he was a voice for atheism. That's what he ended up being. And when he interviewed him, he said, he asked you questions he had. He said, what do you think about Jesus Christ? The man said, Jesus Christ was the source of everything good in my life. He didn't walk all the way away from it, but he realized that Jesus was the case of everything good in his life. And he says, can I say something else? And he said, yeah, what else? He said, I miss him. He said, I miss him. I don't ever want to get to the point in my life that I can say I miss Jesus. I don't want to miss him. I want him right here. You know, I want him right here with me. I don't ever want to miss him. I don't ever want to miss his word, his house, his people. I don't ever want to miss y'all. Ain't something I want to miss in life. You know, I don't. Y'all that's saved, can y'all remember, can y'all roll back the curtain? If I pull back the curtain and think about the days before you were saved. And how filthy you felt when you think about not being saved, not being cleaned by Jesus. But here you sit, saved, with the Bible in your lap, Jesus in your heart. It's a whole different feeling than sitting there thinking about being dirty. You may be in God's house at a time that you used to not want to be in God's house, and now you are. Can't wait to get to God's house. We got a man here today that I didn't think gonna be here today, and he's here today. He said, I'm going up north tomorrow. Come to see you. Come to be in God's house. Be with God's people. That's what I'm talking about. That's what it feels like when he's here. That's what it feels like when he's in your heart. You want to be in his house. You want to be with his people. I don't want to think about going through life without Jesus. Going through life without Jesus ain't worth living. Live without him ain't worth living. Life is nothing without him. It's absolutely nothing. You know, he in Revelation 20, he say he is the one who's going to sit on the throne. Jesus is going to sit on the throne. So we can work, we can have all kinds of things, but if you ain't got Jesus, you got nothing when it's over with. When this life's over with, you have nothing if you ain't got Jesus. Absolutely nothing. It's a powerful statement. He said, without me, you can do nothing. It has eternal value, okay? You know, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Miss Brenda's favorite verse. I remember. You know why I remember? Because I love you. I care about you. You tell me something like that, it sticks. You know, it sticks. You know, you say, well, I'm doing pretty good without Jesus. I got a job. I'm making money. I'm paying bills. I'm doing this. I got a nice car. But you have to remember, that heart that jumps in your chest is jumping because Jesus lets you have it jump in your chest. That's why. The Bible says in his hand is the breath of every man. That means he can take your breath out of you right now and come to an end. And if you don't know Jesus, you're going to bust hell wide open. You know, but he can take it away from you right now. You know. So in this text that we're reading here, we have some eternal value, that something that a religion will not produce. Okay? Something that baptism don't do. It's about getting cleaned up with Jesus. Listen to me now. Jesus is the only way to heaven. Amen. Jesus. I'm going to keep moving. I got my eye on the clock. Y'all keep your eyes on the Bible. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Here's my first point. Without him, you cannot escape the fire. Without him, you cannot escape the fire. John chapter 15, verse 6. That's what it says right here. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch, and is withered, and men gather them and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. And they are burned. That's what it says. You can't hope to get to heaven. You gotta trust in Jesus. Okay? Read this about Dwight L. Moody said that this world is the closest thing to hell I'll ever know. But the world is the closest thing to heaven that a lost man will ever know. That makes sense? I ain't getting no closer to hell than I am right now. This world. But if you're a lost man, this is the closest to heaven you're going to get. You know? I want to enjoy heaven. I want to enjoy heaven. First thing I do when I get there is I'm going to go right up and see Jesus. And next thing I'm doing is go see my mom. That's the next 2 things I'm doing when I get there. Then the rest of it's all good. Whatever else is good. That's what I'm doing. I'm looking forward to seeing my mom again. I ain't gonna lie to you. Looking forward to seeing Jesus, of course. Got a little messed up here for a second. Well, I'm planning on saying all that. What I'm saying is, if you're lost and you don't want to accept Jesus, you better enjoy this work. Because it's all down here from here. It don't get no better than this way. That's what I'm getting at. You know, one day you're going to face Jesus. And if you don't know him, you're going to say, depart from me. There's the everlasting fire waiting on you that was created for the devil and his angels, but it's waiting on you too. What are you going to say? The one that said, you don't want him to say, I never knew you. Be the same voice that said that, Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. The same one that said it's finished. The same voice. Same voice say, depart from me, I never knew you. Depart from me, I never knew you. There is no escape from fire without him. People say, you're just trying to scare me with hell. No, I'm just trying to preach to you about hell. If hell's scaring you this morning, maybe because you don't know him. Hell's scaring you. Say you start preaching on doctrine, you're just trying to say that the Baptist church is the only way to get saved. I'm not saying that by no means. I'm telling you, I think there's a whole lot of Baptists going to hell. I'll be honest with you. I think there's a whole lot of Presbyterians, a whole lot of Pentecostals, a whole lot of Catholics, a whole lot of Muslims. I think there's a whole pile of them going to hell. They're just all church bro. They don't know Jesus. There's a difference. There's a difference. I can care less if you got a Bible in your lap. You got a dress from neck to knee. I don't care. I don't care what you did last night. I don't care what you did the night before that. I don't care what you did the night before that, or before that. I don't care what you did them nights. What you do don't send you to hell. What you don't do sends you to hell.
That's right.
There's a difference. We all sin. We all continually sin. We ask for forgiveness all the time. But the fact is, I asked for forgiveness for my sins at least 3 times this morning. At least. We all sin. I don't want to stand in this pulpit and not be clean. So I ask for sins. The last thing I do before I get up out of that seat is ask for sin. Forgive me before I get up here. I want to come to him as pure as I can when I come. You know, say, well, he's a preacher. He don't sin. I'm a man just like the rest of us. You know, we do. We may not want to, we may not mean to, but we do. So yes. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to give y'all a rescue ladder, I guess you could say. Let me ask you this. If you was in a burning building and you was 4 or 5 stories high and the place is all on fire, they can't get to you. You can't get down. And a fireman comes from the outside window and throws a ladder to your window and says, sir, ma'am, come on out this window and we'll get you saved. Get you out of this fire. You going to your back and say, no, sir. I'll get through this smoking fire on my own. I'll get there on my own. Ain't not every one of y'all do that. Every last one of y'all be out that window, on that ladder, going out. And that's what I'm doing this morning, is I'm throwing y'all that ladder. I'm throwing y'all that ladder, give you a rescue. I'm telling you about Jesus. I'm telling you about hell and how to prevent it. So what I'm doing is I'm throwing that ladder out there to you. It's up to you if you want to jump on it. That's the thing about being saved. Jesus fills your heart, but it's a choice. You can reject it or you can accept it or reject it. You know, God could have made us like robots, and we all went to heaven, everything went straight through, everything good. But God gave people choices. He gave us choices. We can make choices. You know, I'm just trying to help you. I remember a day was a glad day, happy day. That morning I come running down the altar. And I didn't grab hold of no church. I didn't grab hold of no preacher. I grabbed hold of Jesus. I grabbed hold of Jesus and got saved that morning. As a young teenage boy, I grabbed hold of it. I ain't saying I didn't go backwards a little bit before I went forward, but I still grabbed hold of him that morning. I ain't let go since. I got a second point here. You can't experience forgiveness without him. In verse 3, it said, now ye are clean through the word which I have spoken. Now you were clean. You are clean. You clean through his word. You ain't clean through no Mother Teresa. You ain't clean through no Pope. You ain't clean through no Muhammad or your favorite preacher. But you clean through Jesus Christ himself. Is who you clean from. You know? Jesus said, marvel not that I'm saying to you, you must be born again. He said, God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son, to whosoever believeth in him shall not be perished, but have everlasting life. For God, not his Son, who the world to condemn the world, but through him might be saved. And this is the condemnation that light is coming to the world, and man loved darkness rather than light, for the deeds of evil. Everybody wants to quote Jesus, but they want to quote the good stuff. They want to quote all the good stuff. Like, judge not unless you be judged. For some reason, they like to leave some of these verses out because some of God's word just smacks us straight in the face. We don't want to quote those. We need to quote those too. We need to know what he's talking about. It's good to be clean. Y'all know what it's like? You fix to know what it's like. Y'all know what it's like when you get out work in the yard when it's hot? When it's hot, you get all dirty, you get all grimy, you got dirt in your crease in your elbow and your neck and in your hair. You've been out working on a hot summer day, and you got dirt in your hair, and you come in, and your wife says, "You stink." You stink. Boy, you've been out working. You come in, you need a shower. All right, baby. So you go in there and you take them dirty clothes off, and you get in that shower. And that water starts rolling down on you. Then you get your favorite body wash, and you get that stink off of you. Then you feel so much better as you start to get clean. And it comes off of you. And then you get done, get in that shower, you put on your favorite lounger pants, your sweatpants, your shorts, or whatever, and your white t-shirt. You get you a glass of sweet tea, and you sit down there in front of the television, and you turn on Gunsmoke. Oh yeah, I gave a little personal testimony. You sit down there, you turn on Gunsmoke. Don't it just feel so good? Just to sit there and that guy clean. Well, this cleaning I'm talking about don't compare to that. It's a whole nother ballgame when you clean by Jesus. It's a whole lot better. I like it how John said it. John said in 1 John chapter 2, "My little children, these things write I unto you, that ye sin not, for us not to sin." But he knew we was going to sin. And if any man sin, we have an advocate. That's one of my favorite words in the whole Bible. Advocate. Advocate. We have an advocate with the Father. He didn't say Mary, the righteous. He didn't say St. Peter, St. Paul. He said Jesus Christ. That's who he said is our advocate. He is righteous. One man. There's only one name. One name among men, whereby we must be saved. One. Only one name gets the calling into heaven. Nothing wakes up heaven like when you say Jesus. Heaven starts listening when you say Jesus. Every knee shall bow, every tongue shall confess that he is Lord. One day or another. Everybody's going to do it. Everybody. I don't know if y'all know what advocate is. Advocate is like a lawyer. It's like a lawyer. He pleads my case. I have no case. He can't go up there. He can't nobody say, Jesus can't go over there and say, "Big D, he's a good man. He preached your word. He preached at a Bible-believing Baptist church. He sung in the choir, him and his wife. His parents was good. God don't, I'm still dirty compared to, God don't see that as clean. Oh, you know how Jesus pleased my case? This is how Jesus pleased my case. He goes, see this hole? You see this hole? You see these holes in my feet? He's in me. I'm the one showing up for him. It's called atonement. It's called atonement, is what it's called, okay? That's what it says. Let me finish the rest of that verse that I was quoting you just a minute ago. And it says that he is the propitiation for our sins. I know y'all thinking, now you ain't got to say big words, but it's in the Bible. I ain't gonna lie to you. I looked it up, make sure I knew what I was going to say, what it means. It means someone who has satisfied or pacified the wrath for someone else. That's what it means. So yes, so Jesus Christ satisfied God for my sins. Okay? That's what it's getting at. You know? When I say I'm reconciled, that means I'm in the family. Well, that sounds good. I'm in the family. I like that sound. I wish I could lift him up this morning the way he deserves. There ain't nobody can lift up Jesus the way he deserves. I'm trying to. I'm trying to. Because he is altogether the lovely one. Now, I can't lift him up the way he needs to be lifted up, but I'm trying. I'm trying. You can't exhibit fruit without him. That's basically what this text is about fruit. You know, Jesus said, I am the true vine. You are the branches. They're connected. Brother Ted was talking about that this morning, about that wiregrass, how being connected to the vine. We are connected to the vine. Anybody grow a garden know that your plant not going to do anything if the root's not doing anything. Your root's got to be grounded, then you got a vine, then you got branches that come off, then you got fruit that come off of that. We all realize that Jesus is the vine. Remember, you can't be a Christian without Christ. Okay? You know, there's different levels of fruit in this text. I believe you got 3 in verse 2 and another one in verse 8. Verse 2 says, every branch in me that beareth not fruit. So you have no fruit. He taketh away. And every branch that beareth fruit, so now we got fruit. He purges it. And it may bring forth more fruit. So there's 3 phases. We have no fruit, we have fruit, and we have more fruit. Then there's, in verse 8, it says, this is what he wants us to have, folks. Herein is my Father glorified, that ye bear much fruit. So shall ye be my disciples. So now he's saying, you ought to want to bring much fruit. I don't want to be an average, the middle Christian. I want to bring much fruit. That's what I want to bring. I don't believe we're talking about that as far as souls, like leading people to Jesus. I don't believe that's what he's talking about right there. What I believe what he's talking about in fruit there is how we live our lives. Paul tells us what fruit is, fruit of the Spirit. Paul said it's love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. God's not in the number business. Does he want people to say yes? He want us to lead people to Jesus? Yes. I don't think that's what he's talking about when he says fruit. I think it's the fruit of the Spirit, what he's talking about here. So what I'm saying is, how is your life lining up to what Jesus wants your life to line up as? Is your life lining up with love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance? That's fruit. So what I'm asking you is, how many of them things does your life line up with? So are you no fruit? Are you some fruit? Are you more fruit? Or are you much fruit? That's what I'm getting at. By those things there. By those things there. Okay. About the fruit thing, it ain't about me getting glorified or you getting glorified. It's in verse 8. It says, herein is my Father glorified. It's about glorifying God. It's not about glorifying me or you glorifying yourself. It's about glorifying God. Okay? I ask you, why does Faith Baptist Church exist? It exists to produce much fruit. Much fruit. So God gets the glory. So God gets the glory. Okay? That's what it's for. One more quick point. Without him, you cannot endure faithfully. Verse 9. As the Father hath loved me, so have I loved you. Continue ye in my love. If ye keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments, and abide in his love. These things have I spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you, and that your joy might be full. I pray this all the time. Seen some good preaching over my days. I listen to a lot of good preaching. And I think to myself, Father God, give me some of that you gave that man there. That man there can really spread your word the way it should be spread. And I want you to put some of that on me. Just like Elijah asked for double the portion. He wanted more. I want more. God, pour it on me. Pour it on me. That's what I want. What I want to do is I want to endure faithfully. What I mean is I don't want to be a one-hit wonder. Y'all like music, y'all know about one-hit wonders. I don't want to just be oh, he did great. You know, he did great for a couple years at Faith Baptist. But now look at him. He's running off. He's shacked up with some woman. He ain't preached the gospel no more. You know, he's doing this and that. I don't want to be that. That's what I don't want to be. I want to endure till he calls me home. This is what I want to do until he calls me home. We're going to have a song of invitation. And the doors of the church are open. If anybody wants to join the church, or if anybody wants to accept Jesus as their Savior, right now is the time to do it. become members, folks.
Amen.
Everybody who agrees, raise your right hand. All right. That's good. Well, I want y'all to go up there and get him a right hand of fellowship, y'all. I done got them all. You something good up here this morning, that part, boy. I heard you.